Next up, we got the truth about Pat My Homies. Three-peat. Now, let me know in the comments. Do you guys think Patrick Mahomes can go on a three-peat? Because as of right now, I'm scared. Okay? I feel like the whole league is scared. All right? But I know if nobody can take them down, like if the Ravens can't get the job done, the Bills, I know the Lions will. Okay? I know the Lions will. Because this is going to be their first year, go to the Super Bowl, and win. So if nobody can count on themselves this season, y'all can at least count on us, all right? We need the whole league need to support the Lions and help us go to the Super Bowl so we can beat them, all right? Because y'all can't get it done. Y'all can't get it done. That's just what it is, bro. So, hey, hit the like button, hit that sub button. Let me know if y'all want more Chiefs videos.
Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs can accomplish something that has never been done in NFL history. This year, the Chiefs could be the first team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. What would this mean for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs dynasty? In order to understand, we'll take a look back at 4 of the biggest dynasties from the past 50 years and see where the Chiefs compare to them. Starting with the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers, coached by Hall of Famer Chuck Noll. During the 1970s, other teams like the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys were able to win multiple Super Bowls, but these do not compare to the success of the Steelers. They made the playoffs in 8 consecutive years from 1972 to 1979 and won 4 Super Bowls during this time period. Leading the Steelers' offense were legendary Hall of Famers quarterback Terry Bradshaw, running back Franco Harris, and wide receivers Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. On defense, the Steelers dominated opponents with one of the greatest defensive lines ever assembled. Dubbed the Steel Curtain, this consisted of Hall of Famer and 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Mean Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, and Dwight White. The defensive line accumulated around 2...
Bro, listen to their names, bro. You know a nigga tough by his name. Like, what the fuck is Mean Joe Green? Nigga, you mean tell me you walk around the house all day and niggas call you Mean Joe Green? Nigga, you ain't happy? Nigga walk around all day, man.
Hall of Famer and 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Mean Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, and Dwight White. The defensive line accumulated around 250 sacks during this dynasty. However, many of these are unofficial, as a sack did not become an official stat until 1982. In 1972, the Steelers...
they was breaking records that wasn't even a record? They was breaking records that wasn't records yet. They haven't even made a record.
250 sacks during this dynasty. However, many of these are unofficial, as a sack did not become an official stat until 1982. In 1972, the Steelers finished with an 11-3 record and made their first AFC Championship appearance in franchise history. Pass and ran it in for a touchdown. Though the Steelers lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins, this was the start of their run of dominance. After a 10-4 record in 1973, where the Steelers' defense dominated opponents and Mean Joe Green received his first Defensive Player of the Year, they would be defeated in the divisional round by the Oakland Raiders. But the following season in 1974, they finished with a 10-3-1 record, once again led by their incredible defense. The Steelers steamrolled their opponents en route to a Super Bowl and defeated the Minnesota Vikings 16-6 in the Super Bowl, with Franco Harris receiving the Super Bowl MVP. He would carry the ball 34 times and rack up 158 yards with a touchdown. In 1975, the Steelers improved to a 12-2 record, dominating opponents on both sides of the ball. Pittsburgh defeated the Colts in the divisional round and the Raiders once again in the AFC Championship en route to back-to-back Super Bowls. In a narrow victory, the Steelers would win their second Super Bowl in a row against the Dallas Cowboys 21-17. Wide receiver Lynn Swann won the Super Bowl MVP with 4 receptions for 161 yards and a touchdown. The Steelers had the chance to become the first team in history to win 3 Super Bowls in a row the next season. But through the first 5 games, the Steelers had a 1-4 start and lost their starting quarterback Terry Bradshaw to an injury. Yet Pittsburgh ran the table and finished 9-0 on their remaining games thanks to their defense. On this stretch, they recorded 5 shutouts and allowed only 3 points in 2 games. However, they fell short in the AFC Championship game to the Oakland Raiders 24-7. In this season, Mean Joe Green won his 2nd Defensive Player of the Year. The 1977 season was the Steelers' worst performance during their dynasty, finishing with a 9-5 record and losing in the divisional round. But they would quickly bounce back in the next season, finishing 14-2, primarily led by Terry Bradshaw, who would win the MVP this season. They dominated both the Denver Broncos and the Houston Oilers in the playoffs and wrapped a Super Bowl 10, rematch with the Dallas Cowboys. In a narrow 35-31 victory, they won their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years, capped off by a 318-yard, 4-touchdown performance from the Super Bowl MVP Terry Bradshaw. The Steelers would once again dominate in the 1979 season, finishing with a 12-4 record and steamrolling their way to the Super Bowl again, with a 34-14 win over the Dolphins and a 27-13 win over the Oilers. In Super Bowl 14, they easily beat the Los Angeles Rams 31-19, and Terry Bradshaw won his 2nd Super Bowl MVP in a row. In the 1980 season, the Steelers once again had a chance to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. However, with an aging team, they would finish with a 9-7 record and miss the playoffs for the first time in 8 seasons, officially ending their dynasty. Since the start of the Chiefs dynasty in 2018, they have reached at least the AFC Championship game in every season. On this stretch of 6 years, they've appeared in 4 Super Bowls and won 3 in 5 years. While the 1970 Steelers were able to make the playoffs in 8 consecutive seasons, they were unable to get out of the divisional round in 2 of these seasons. Something that has yet to happen to the Chiefs, and even more impressive considering the wildcard round was not introduced until 1978. To me, it seems clear that with a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl win, the Kansas City Chiefs will easily surpass the 1970 Steelers on the rankings of dynasties. Becoming a full-time YouTuber is not easy. If you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. Right as the Steelers dynasty ended in 1980, a new dynasty was coming to fruition. The San Francisco 49ers began their reign as the dominant team of the 1980s, coached and managed by Bill Walsh. Early years of the dynasty were carried by offensive players such as Hall of Famer Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, and Roger Craig, later adding debatably the greatest receiver of all time in Jerry Rice. On the defensive side of the ball, their primary leaders were Ronnie Lott, Fred Dean, with help from Dwight Hicks and Keena Turner. During the 1981 season, the 49ers would finish with a 13-3 record, their first winning season in 5 years, and first playoff appearance since 1972. The 49ers defeated the Giants in the divisional round and faced off with the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship. In one of the most iconic moments, Joe Montana threw a touchdown pass to Dwight Clark in the final minutes of the game, which became forever known as the catch. They advanced to Super Bowl 16 to play against the Cincinnati Bengals. San Francisco narrowly defeated the Bengals 26-21, and Joe Montana would win his first Super Bowl MVP. The 1982 season is a strange season because of a players' strike shortening the regular season to just 9 games. Regardless, the defending champs ended the season with a 3-6 record, partially in fault to a weak run game, along with a defense that dropped from 2nd in the league to one of the worst. They would not make the playoffs and recorded their only losing season during this dynasty. Though the team bounced back in 1983 with a 10-6 record, they fell short to the Washington Redskins in the NFC Championship.
Is his last name Buns?
Next season, they would record the 2nd best record of the dynasties we'll cover, finishing with a remarkable 15-1 record. Breezing past the divisional round with a 21-10 victory over the Giants before shutting out the Bears in the NFC Championship game to advance to Super Bowl 19. The 49ers matched up against NFL MVP Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins, but easily got the best of them 38-16. Montana won his 2nd Super Bowl MVP, throwing for 331 yards and 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. Over the next 3 seasons, the 49ers would make the playoffs with the winning records. However, they were unable to get past the divisional round from 1985 to 1987, despite finishing with a league best 13-2 record in 87. In the 1988 season, the 49ers finally made another deep playoff run. They finished with a 10-6 record led by Montana and Rice and found themselves playing against the Vikings. They easily defeated them in a 34-9 victory and headed to the NFC Championship to play the Chicago Bears. With a 28-3 win, they headed to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 23 was a rematch of Super Bowl 16 against the Bengals, but in the next season, Joe Montana was nearly perfect, leading the 49ers to a 14-2 record and winning the NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year in the process. San Francisco steamrolled everyone in the playoffs this season, beating the Vikings in the divisional round 43-13, the Rams in the NFC Championship 30-3, and finally in the Super Bowl, defeated the Denver Broncos 55-10. In this Super Bowl, they set records for most points scored by a single team, as well as the largest margin of victory with 45 points. Montana won his third Super Bowl MVP with a 5-touchdown performance. In 1990, the 49ers once again finished with a 14-2 record, and Montana would win his second consecutive NFL MVP. Despite this, the 49ers lost in the NFC Championship to the eventual Super Bowl winners, the New York Giants, in a 15-13 defeat. In the preseason of the 91 season, Joe Montana suffered an elbow injury which forced him to miss the entire season as well as most of the 1992 season. In 1991, the 49ers finished with a 10-6 record and missed the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. This is where I'll consider the end of the true dynasty, however many consider this to extend it into the 1990s. In 1991, Steve Young took over the starting role for the injured Montana and played decent considering the shoes he was trying to fill. Young shined in the following seasons. In 1992 and 1994, he won the NFL MVP. He also led the 49ers to a 14-2 record in 1992 and a 10-6 record in 1993, making the NFC Championship in both years. They lost these games to the next dynasty.
So is Brock Purdy low-key another Steve Young? Nah, think about it. They do is like they are very similar, both of them. So maybe they are. I don't know.
But we'll get to that shortly. But in 1994, during his second MVP season, Young was able to get the 49ers to Super Bowl 29, and they defeated the San Diego Chargers 49-26, and he won Super Bowl MVP in the process. When comparing the accomplishments of this dynasty, winning 4 Super Bowls in 9 years or 5 Super Bowls in 14 years, to the present Kansas City Chiefs, it's worth noting that they never lost a Super Bowl. However, it's hard to use making 4 Super Bowls and just 6 years against the Chiefs. During the stretch, Montana and Mahomes both won 2 NFL MVPs. However, Mahomes was 10 years younger than Montana when he won his first MVP. The Chiefs again had the edge in playoff runs, although the 49ers played in a time when there was a 12-team playoff as opposed to the 14 teams we have today. This works both ways, though, as in 1991, the 49ers would not have missed the playoffs in the current structure. Like the Steelers, the 49ers had an opportunity to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls from 1988 to 1990, but fell short in the NFC Championship. The Chiefs have yet to be stopped before the AFC Championship game and once again had the opportunity to win 3 in a row. Though the longevity of a dynasty plays a large factor in the rankings, the Chiefs' run could easily extend several more years considering Mahomes is only 28 years old. The next dynasty is far by the shortest one on this list, but a dominant one nonetheless. The Dallas Cowboys, who beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship
the last time Cowboys won?
1992 and 1993 playoffs. America's team at the time was coached by Jimmy Johnson and then Barry Switzer. On offense, Hall of Famers Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irving were an elite trio capped off with one of the best offensive lines of all time. Hall of Famer Charles Haley led the Cowboys on defense with help from Darren Woodson and later adding another Hall of Famer, Deion Sanders. During the 1992 season, the Cowboys finished with a 13-3 record and were ranked as the 6th greatest team of all time during the NFL's 100th year anniversary. The team dominated opponents on both sides of the ball and easily won their divisional game against the Philadelphia Eagles 34-10.
So you know what I always remember about Michael Irvin? His mouthpiece, yo. Because back then, because his mouthpiece looked very old.
During the NFL's 100th year
it's like
anniversary.
Super. It's like it's supposed to be white, but it's not white. You see, it's like brown. But he always have all white on. But he had this brown mouthpiece or like yellow. I don't know what color that is. I'm not gonna lie to you. But that's like the one thing that I always remember, like his mouthpiece. Because I think they had white mouthpieces, so it just threw me off. Like, why do you have this off-brand mouthpiece? Like, what is going on? And he out here going crazy.
All time, it was just during the NFL's 100th year anniversary. The team dominated opponents on both sides of the ball and easily won their divisional game against the Philadelphia Eagles 34-10. In the NFC Championship, they would defeat Steve Young's 49ers 30-20. Troy Aikman won the MVP of Super Bowl 27 with a 4-touchdown performance and a 52-17 victory over the Buffalo Bills. The next season, the Cowboys picked up right where they left off, finishing the regular season with a 12-4 record. Emmitt Smith was named the NFL MVP, averaging over 100 yards per game and 5.3 yards per carry. Easily dispatching the Packers in the divisional round, they once again defeated the 49ers 38-21 in the NFC Championship. In Super Bowl 28, they rematched with the Buffalo Bills, where they would enter halftime with a 13-6 deficit. The Cowboys made a comeback in the second half, scoring 24 unanswered points and defeated the Bills 30-13. In 1994, the Cowboys had their opportunity to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and many believe they had the ability to do so. For the second year in a row, the Cowboys ended the season with a 12-4 record and were headed to the playoffs. In the divisional round, they played against the Green Bay Packers, but this game was never close and the Cowboys won 35-9. For the third consecutive season, the Cowboys found themselves playing against San Francisco in the NFC Championship. Although they got the better of the 49ers the previous 2 meetings, they would lose this game 38-28, and the 49ers went on to win the Super Bowl. In 1995, the Cowboys once again finished with a 12-4 record and made the playoffs, making quick work of the Eagles in the divisional round. In the NFC Championship, they played against the Green Bay Packers and MVP Brett Favre. The Cowboys trailed entering the fourth quarter 27-24, but with a Smith touchdown run and a clutch interception from Larry Brown, allowing them to score 14 in the fourth and win the game 38-27. In Super Bowl 30, the Cowboys face off with the Pittsburgh Steelers in their first Super Bowl appearance since their dynasty ended in 1979. Dallas defeated the Steelers in a 27-17 game in which cornerback Larry Brown won the Super Bowl MVP with his 2 second-half interceptions. This capped off the Cowboys dynasty, winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and making the NFC Championship in the other. Compared to the Chiefs' current run, this dynasty lasted 2 years shorter but resulted in the same amount of Super Bowls. Well, this is not a knock against either team. As we've discussed, the longevity of a dynasty has a lasting impact on them. The Cowboys were only able to keep this stretch for 4 straight seasons, while the Chiefs have been on a 6-year run of conference championships or Super Bowl appearances. They are both still a ways away from the longevity the final dynasty on this list had, New England Patriots. Tom Brady and Coach Belichick allowed this run to be possible for nearly 20 years. Their dominance.
You say almost 20 years?
Belichick allowed this run to be possible for nearly 20 years.
My whole life, they've been winning. Think about that. My whole life, since I stepped foot on this earth, they've been winning. How is that even possible, yo? How are y'all that good?
Dominance could even be broken into 2 separate dynasties if we wanted to look at it this way. From 2001 to 2004, the Patriots won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, actually missing the playoffs in 2002. We're the second dynasty from 2014 to 2018,
they had multiple
occurred in which the Patriots won the Super Bowl in 2014, lost in the AFC Championship in 2015,
every 2 years,
and then made 3 consecutive Super Bowls, winning 2 of those appearances. However, many choose to connect these as which they are bridged between a stretch of 9 years in which the Patriots only missed the playoffs a single year when Tom Brady was injured. During that 9-year stretch, the Patriots reached 5 AFC Championship games, played in 2 Super Bowls.
It did say 2000s. Yeah, it was the 2000s. Yeah. That's crazy.
Year stretch, the Patriots reached 5 AFC Championship games, played in 2 Super Bowls, and Tom Brady won 2 NFL MVPs.
Was that Ty Law?
In 2007, the Patriots became the only team in NFL history to finish the season a perfect 16-0. Yet despite this record,
that's the only team that done that?
History to finish the season a perfect 16-0. Patriots became the only team in NFL history to finish the season a perfect 16-0. Yet despite this record, they would lose to the New York Giants and Eli Manning in Super Bowl 43 when they were favored by 12 points. Their other appearance after the 2011 season ended in the same fashion as Eli Manning got the best of the Patriots again. During these 2 stretches, the Patriots had an opportunity to win 3 Super Bowls in a row in 2005, but were unable to make it past the divisional round. From 2016 to 2018, the Patriots played in 3 consecutive Super Bowls, but with the loss in Super Bowl 52 to the Philadelphia Eagles, they would not win 3 in a row despite winning in 2018. In 2019, the Patriots' loss in the wild card round brought an end to the dynasty as Tom Brady decided to move on from the team. This reign of dominance was never seen in the NFL prior to the Patriots and seems unreproducible. Yet Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs seem to be somewhat on track to reproduce this. While they're still a good 10 years away from the span of the New England Patriots, they have the opportunity to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. As the first team to do so, it's hard to imagine that many could deny their dominance as a dynasty. Where do you guys think the Chiefs...
See, honestly, I feel like the Mahomes... I had no faith in Mahomes last year. I had 0 faith, bro. And I already don't like to hop on a bandwagon. Whenever somebody where a whole nation is bandwagoning a person, I don't like to just follow suit and just hop on a bandwagon. Unless I actually know I have a good reason for me to like the person. I don't just... Whatever the group say, I'm going to just do that. Like, no, bro. So, after last year, I have faith, bro. I'm not going to lie. I have faith. I haven't... If he was able to go to the Super Bowl with a mid team and win with a mid team, that's telling me everything I need to know. Everything I need to know. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel. Do y'all think Pat Mahomes is going to 3-peat? Let me know.